If you grew up in America, chances are you had Kraft Mac and Cheese at least once a week. Bright orange, gooey, served in a bowl that was somehow always too hot to hold. It wasn't dinner. It was an emotion. That blue box practically raised a generation. Late-night study sessions, Kraft. Babysitter dinner, Kraft. Broken heart, also Kraft. It's comfort food in its purest form, cheap, fast, and neon. But lately, something's changed. The internet has started whispering the unthinkable. Maybe that childhood favorite isn't as innocent as we thought. Between ingredient controversies, disappearing colors, and that one rebrand that nobody noticed, Kraft Mac and Cheese has gone from nostalgic icon to possible red flag. So the question is, what happened to America's favorite blue box? And are we really ready to give it up? Or are we just growing out of it? Because this story isn't just about pasta and cheese powder. It's about nostalgia, marketing, and the moment you realize your comfort food might actually be complicated. So grab a fork and maybe check the label first. Because today, we're finding out why you may never eat Kraft Mac and Cheese ever again. And hey, if you survive the existential crisis, hit subscribe. It's free, unlike dinner now. Before Kraft Mac and Cheese became the punchline of college broke meals, it was actually kind of revolutionary. Let's rewind to the Great Depression, 1937. America's broke, families are scraping by, and Kraft swoops in like a carb-loaded superhero. They advertise a box that can feed 4 people for 19 cents, and all you need is butter and milk. Instant dinner. No culinary skills required. It was genius. In an era of scarcity, Kraft sold abundance. For the first time, you could have creamy, cheesy comfort without needing actual cheese. Then came World War II, when rationing made real dairy a luxury. Kraft's boxed Mac, shelf-stable, cheap, and morale-boosting. Soldiers ate it overseas, families ate it at home. By the 1950s, the blue box had become the definition of American convenience. Fast forward a few decades, and Kraft Mac and Cheese was everywhere. Commercials promised smiles, jingles got stuck in your head, and that bright orange color became a cultural landmark. By the 90s and 2000s, it wasn't just dinner. It was childhood in a box. Parents loved it because kids actually ate it, and kids loved it because it tasted like happiness, and also 900 milligrams of sodium. It survived recessions, trends, and kale. Kraft's Mac and Cheese didn't just sell food, it sold comfort, consistency, and the illusion that life was still simple. But comfort always comes at a cost. Because while America was busy pouring liquid gold over noodles, something inside that blue box was quietly changing, and soon, people would start asking questions about what they were really eating. All right, let's pop open that iconic blue box and take a peek inside. Because the secret to Kraft Mac and Cheese's addictive charm isn't just nostalgia, it's chemistry. The famous neon orange powder, that's not cheddar, that's a science project. For decades, Kraft used a cocktail of preservatives, anti-caking agents, and dyes to make sure every noodle looked like it belonged on a Crayola chart. Specifically, yellow number 5 and yellow number 6, artificial food colorings that made it pop on the shelf and, let's be honest, in your bloodstream. Now, these dyes have been controversial for years. Some studies linked them to hyperactivity in kids. Others said the evidence was weak. Either way, parents started side-eyeing the box like it had a warning label. Then came Europe, where regulators said, yeah, maybe let's not feed this to people. They required warning labels or banned certain dyes outright. And Kraft? They didn't want to risk losing their market overseas. So in 2015, after years of petitions, they quietly announced they'd remove artificial dyes in the U.S. too. Here's the plot twist, though. They didn't tell anyone when they did it. In 2016, Kraft revealed they had already changed the recipe months earlier, and nobody noticed. They swapped out the artificial colors for natural ones like paprika and turmeric, and sales stayed the same, which raises an uncomfortable question. If we didn't taste the difference, what were we tasting all those years? Turns out it wasn't the cheese that hooked us. It was the salt, fat, sugar, and nostalgia engineered to keep you coming back. Kraft Mac and Cheese wasn't comfort food by accident. It was comfort food by design. And once people started realizing that, the blue box suddenly didn't seem so innocent anymore. Here's the thing. Kraft Mac and Cheese didn't change overnight. We did. Back in the day, processed wasn't a dirty word. Frozen dinners were futuristic, margarine was a miracle, and powdered cheese was basically space food. It felt modern, convenient, scientific, even a little glamorous. But now, the same words, processed, artificial, shelf-stable, make people cringe. Because we've lived through the Great Wellness Awakening. Millennials and Gen Z grew up reading ingredients, watching food documentaries, and collectively deciding, maybe fluorescent cheese dust isn't self-care. We started looking for real food, organic, plant-based, additive-free. Suddenly, the blue box looked like a relic from a time when we didn't know what turmeric was. Even kids' tastes changed. Parents who once served Kraft on autopilot now make cauliflower mac with oat milk bechamel, which sounds illegal but apparently tastes fine. Meanwhile, social media made food status. Posting a bowl of boxed mac and cheese feels retro. Posting homemade truffle mac feels aspirational. So Kraft's problem wasn't just ingredients, it was identity. They went from a symbol of comfort to a symbol of a processed past. And once your brand becomes shorthand for fake, it's really hard to come back, no matter how many cute noodle mascots you make. But Kraft wasn't about to let its legacy curdle. Instead of fighting the health wave, they tried something sneakier. They didn't change the product. They changed the story. In 2022, Kraft pulled a sneaky little stunt. After 85 years of being Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, they suddenly dropped 2 words and became simply Kraft Mac and Cheese. Sounds small, right? But it was surgical marketing genius. They said it was about simplicity, that mac and cheese reflected how people actually talk. But really, it was a way to quietly erase baggage. Macaroni and cheese sounded old-fashioned. Mac and cheese, that's modern, friendly, TikTok core. They even changed the logo. Softer fonts, brighter blue, a noodle smiley face, because nothing says trust us again like typography that looks like a preschool app. But here's the kicker. They also changed the formula. Less salt, fewer artificial preservatives, and more recognizable ingredients. Basically, a subtle detox for the guilty pleasure generation. They called it a new era of comfort. Translation: we're trying to stay relevant while pretending we were always healthy. And you know what? It worked. For a while. Sales bumped up, nostalgia kicked back in, and the internet applauded Kraft for cleaning up. But some longtime fans weren't having it. They swore the new version tasted different. Blander, less cheesy, less comforty. The same people who grew up on that electric orange flavor suddenly felt betrayed by the brand that raised them. Because nostalgia's a tricky business. You can update the box, but you can't rebrand the memory. And when your product's entire identity is nostalgia, changing anything, even a little, feels like rewriting childhood. Kraft's downfall isn't just about noodles, it's about how we eat now. For decades, America's food story was about convenience. Instant, easy, reliable. But now, it's about authenticity. We want to know where our food comes from, what's in it. Ideally, it was grown by someone with a name like Sage on a regenerative farm. Kraft Mac and Cheese represents the old dream. Food that promised comfort without effort. But modern consumers don't just want comfort, they want control. That's why we're seeing the rise of clean comfort foods, organic boxed mac, plant-based cheese, and TikTok recipes that take longer but make you feel like an adult. Kraft isn't disappearing. It's just becoming the thing we remember, not the thing we crave. A relic from a simpler, saltier time, when fake cheese could still feel real. Because in the new food economy, nostalgia's not enough. You can't sell childhood forever, especially when your audience is reading the ingredients. So yeah, maybe you'll still grab that blue box sometimes, late at night when life's too much and you just need a forkful of 2007. But the truth is, Kraft Mac and Cheese isn't what it used to be. And neither are we. We grew up, our taste buds evolved, and our comfort food got complicated. The same orange powder that once felt like magic now feels like marketing. But that's kind of beautiful, right? Because it means food isn't just fuel, it's memory. And when those memories change, it means we're changing too. So maybe you won't eat Kraft Mac and Cheese ever again, but you'll always remember what it tasted like to be a kid who didn't care about labels, just cheese. And hey, if this video gave you a little flavor of nostalgia, go ahead and subscribe. It's the grown-up version of comfort. No powdered cheese required.